This is Josh Wood's Genesis Podcast. My hope is that this will help you connect in new ways with the God of the Bible as it helps me study, process, and think out loud. Thanks so much for listening. Let's go. Genesis chapter 15. Genesis 15:5. He took him outside and said, "Look up at the sky and count the stars, if indeed you can count them." Then he said to him, "So shall your offspring be." NIV. Have you ever been far enough away from a city that you can see the night sky in all its glory? You know, out where man-made lights don't pollute the power of the light of the stars and planets. There's probably a sermon in there somewhere, like how creation-made lights of stars and planets reach our eyes millions of light years away, but how our man-made lights don't seem to make it very far, don't last very long, and how light is essentially perpetual in that it doesn't dissipate or lose steam in a vacuum, but only goes away when it's absorbed by the things it hits. But I digress. On my first trip to Kenya, we were driven out to the middle of nowhere, an area known as the bush. It was many, many miles from electricity or any source of man-made light. The sky was mind-blowing. You could plainly see the Milky Way galaxy. The constellations stood out as I'd never seen them before. I could hardly process how many stars were there, and even the diversity of them all. Different sizes, different twinkles, different colors, different magnitudes of light. That night in Kenya is the mental image I have every time I read in the Bible where God tells someone to look at the stars. Genesis 15:5. He took him outside and said, "Look up at the sky and count the stars, if indeed you can count them." Then he said to him, "So shall your offspring be." NIV. So shall your offspring be. A diverse multitude of individual lights of various brightness, colors, ages, etc., shining their lights throughout the darkness of both the universe and history, shining their lights throughout the past, present, and future. I love it when God speaks to humanity like this. When Abram asked for an heir and a lineage, God could have stuck to words. Yes, you'll have a son, Abram, and a lot of grandkids, and a whole lot of great-grandkids. But God didn't say that. Essentially, he said, "Look up. So shall your offspring be." That's powerful. And the more science has helped us understand about the properties of light and stars, the more powerful the imagery has become. I can't leave this chapter without talking about verses 8 through 20. Powerful story. Let's unpack what's going on here. God has just told Abram, "I'm going to give you offspring and a lineage beyond your wildest imagination. And I'm going to give you abundant land and territory to grow in." In verse 8, we have Abram asking a question. The question all humans ask at some point in their lives. "Sovereign Lord, how can I know that I will gain possession of it?" NIV. In other words, those are great promises, God, but you seem to have forgotten that I, A, have no kids, and B, am sort of a wandering vagabond with no land. Tell me what I need to do. God answers somewhat oddly at first glance. "Bring me a heifer, a goat, and a ram, each 3 years old, along with a dove and a young pigeon." NIV. So humans had this ancient tradition of sorts. It's a way to symbolize a vow between two parties, usually a servant and a master or a servant and a king. They would cut some animals in two halves and lay them out in such a way as there was a pathway of blood between the halves. Gross, but quite memorable. The servant undertaking a vow would walk the path through the cut-up animal pieces on either side. In essence, the servant who walked the pathway of blood was saying, "If I break this vow, may it be done to me as it was done to the animals I just walked through." In other words, the pathway of slaughtered animals symbolized the seriousness of the vow. You break the vow, you pay with your life. But Abram didn't walk through the pieces. God did. In essence, God was saying, "Abram, if you or your lineage don't fulfill this vow, you won't pay with your life. I'll pay with mine." And, spoiler alert, he did.
Yeah. Yo, that's me. Yo. Yo, step out the city where the night sky glows. Stars and planets flexing, no man-made foes. Light years traveling, perpetual flow. Creation's power shines where the heavens show. Out in Kenya, clarity vibes, middle of nowhere. Milky Way popping, constellations rare. Big stars, small stars, colors in the air. God's voice in the dark, Abram, stop and stare. Look up at the sky, count them if you can. Your offspring's coming like a cosmic plan. Lights in the darkness, shining through time. God's promise, hitting infinite rhyme. Abram's like, yo God, how's this gonna be? No kids, no land, just a wandering me. God said, chill fam, I got the design. Your lineage gon' shine like the stars align. Then it's heifer, goat, ram, cut him in two. Blood path laid out, old school vow between the two. Abram ain't walk it, nah, God took the fall. Said if this breaks, I'll pay it all. Look up at the sky, count them if you can. Your offspring's coming like a cosmic plan. Lights in the darkness, shining through time. God's promise, hitting infinite rhyme. From the stars to the cross, that's the master play. God's vow held tight, still shines today. Night sky preaching, truth in the view. Abram's seed blessed, yo, that's me and you. Yo, from the stars to the cross, that's the master play. Yo. That's the master plan. Yo.
You've been listening to Josh Wood's Genesis podcast. Feel free to connect with me on Substack, Instagram, Facebook, X, or Threads. My username is JoshWoodTX on all of the above. Thanks for listening. See you next time.